For a moment, picture this. The entire universe is quietly arranging everything in your favor. Every delay, every unexpected turn, every season of uncertainty is not standing in your way, but guiding you towards something better. Every breath you take, every step you make, every event you experience is unfolding according to a greater purpose designed for your highest good. Now imagine that beyond what your eyes can see, beyond the circumstances that seem confusing or discouraging, everything is already falling perfectly into place. This is not wishful thinking. It is a universal law. Whether you realize it or not, your life reflects what you consistently accept as true. Whatever you believe with conviction eventually becomes your experience. Scripture tells us, according to your faith, be it unto you. Faith is simply holding firmly to something unseen until it becomes visible. The moment you choose to live as though everything is already working out, you place yourself in harmony with this principle. You begin thinking, speaking, and acting from the finished result instead of the present problem. You stop asking how it will happen. You stop searching for proof. You stop pleading with life to change. Instead, you settle into the quiet certainty that your assumptions are shaping your reality. I once spoke with a woman who felt completely defeated. She said, "Neville, I've prayed, repeated affirmations, visualized my goals, yet nothing changes. What am I missing?" I answered, "You're doing all of it from the perspective of someone who still feels they don't have what they want. You're hoping it works while secretly fearing it won't." Change your starting point. Assume it has already happened. Feel the relief now. Live from the fulfilled desire instead of reaching for it. She embraced that idea completely. She stopped asking life to improve and began living as though it already had. She carried herself with quiet confidence. She no longer waited for signs before believing. She believed first, and then the evidence appeared. Opportunities opened. Her relationships became stronger. Her health improved. But the greatest transformation wasn't outside of her. It happened within. She discovered peace, certainty, and personal power. Living as though everything always works out for you is not arrogance, nor is it pretending. It is recognizing your true creative nature. You were never meant to be controlled by circumstances. You are imagination itself, and imagination is the creative force behind reality. The world around you simply reflects the assumptions you repeatedly entertain. So when life seems difficult, what do you immediately believe? Do you expect failure? Do you surrender to fear? Or do you remember that appearances are only temporary reflections of old beliefs? Everything can change the moment you accept that it already has within. Enter the state where your desire is fulfilled. Become familiar with the feeling of already having the solution rather than focusing on the problem. I have often said that man is all imagination, and God exists within you as your own wonderful human imagination. When you genuinely feel that life is unfolding in your favor, you are using the very power that creates reality. Your inner conviction gives direction to your outer world, and reality has no choice but to reflect it. Never allow your senses to convince you otherwise. Your senses only report yesterday's assumptions. They do not determine tomorrow. The instant you accept a new belief and impress it with genuine feeling, you plant a seed. Whether you see immediate evidence means nothing. The seed is already growing beneath the surface. Continue assuming that everything always works out for you, and in time, that seed will mature and produce visible results. Anyone can believe when life is easy. Real mastery is believing when appearances disagree. It is remaining confident
when doors seem closed. It is feeling wealthy before the numbers change. It is feeling loved before the relationship heals. It is standing in certainty while the outside world still catches up. So how do you begin? You begin in imagination. Close your eyes and stop looking through physical sight. Instead, see with your inner vision. Experience what it would feel like if you knew with complete certainty that every situation was already resolving perfectly. Let that feeling fill your mind and heart. Carry it with you throughout your day. That feeling is your true prayer. That feeling unlocks creation, because feeling is the secret.
Think back to moments that once looked like disappointments, but later became unexpected blessings. The opportunity you missed that led to something greater. The person who walked away and made room for someone better. The delay that protected you from the wrong path. Life has been showing you all along that what first appears to be a setback is often the beginning of something far greater. Looking back, you'll often realize that what once felt like failure was actually guidance. Those moments were never random mistakes. They were necessary steps leading you exactly where you needed to be. They were quiet acts of divine direction. Now imagine living with that understanding every single day. Imagine trusting before any evidence appears that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. The truth is, the version of you whose life always works out already exists. Every possible state already exists. Creation is complete. Your purpose is not to force reality into existence, but to choose the state you wish to experience and remain faithful to it. You move from one state to another through assumption, conviction, and persistence. Each time you tell yourself, everything is always working in my favor, you strengthen that identity. You stop identifying with struggle and begin identifying with the person who naturally expects blessings. Since the outer world faithfully reflects your inner assumptions, it must eventually mirror the state you consistently occupy. Remember this well. Change is never produced through strain or endless effort. It does not come from worrying harder or praying longer. Real change begins the moment you fully accept the fulfilled desire as your present reality. Once you accept the destination within, the path reveals itself naturally. Life quietly rearranges circumstances to match your inner conviction. I once knew a man who constantly expected the worst. Every inconvenience became proof that something terrible was about to happen. Unsurprisingly, life reflected those expectations. Problems seemed to appear everywhere. His finances became difficult, his health declined, and his relationships suffered. I told him, "You are not cursed by life. You have simply become loyal to an assumption that no longer serves you. Change your assumption, and your experience will change." He decided to test the principle. Every day he repeated, "Everything is always working out for me," not as empty words, but as a deep inner certainty. At first, nothing seemed different, yet he remained faithful to the feeling. Gradually, life began responding. Unexpected opportunities appeared. Financial blessings arrived in surprising ways. His peace of mind returned. He smiled more often and slept without anxiety. He wasn't transformed because he worked harder. He was transformed because he chose a different state of consciousness. Make the decision today that you will no longer entertain doubt as your companion. Be loyal to your vision instead of your fears. Stay committed to the future you desire rather than repeating the stories of your past. The world you experience is only reflecting what you have accepted within yourself. You cannot change the reflection by fighting what you see. You change it by changing the one who is looking into the mirror. When I encourage you to live as though everything always works out, I am not asking you to pretend. I am inviting you to think, feel, and respond from that truth until it becomes natural. Let confidence become the atmosphere of your mind. As within, so without. This law never sleeps. It is always responding. It faithfully follows the instructions you impress upon it through your assumptions. Ask yourself this: if success were absolutely guaranteed, how would you live today? What would you finally begin? What fears would you release? What conversations would you have? What dreams would you stop postponing? Become that person now. That version of you is not imaginary. It is your true self, expressing confidence instead of hesitation. You were never meant to spend your life reacting to circumstances. You came here to shape them. Your inner conversations are constantly creating tomorrow's experiences. Pay attention to what you repeatedly tell yourself when no one else is listening. Are your thoughts supporting the future you want, or reinforcing the fears you wish would disappear? Change the dialogue. Tell yourself, I am supported. I am guided. I am blessed. Life is working in my favor. Everything always unfolds perfectly for me. As those assumptions become natural, your entire presence begins to change. You carry yourself differently. Your words become calmer. Others notice your confidence, even if they cannot explain it. They simply feel the peace that comes from someone living from the fulfilled state. The power has never existed outside of you. It has always rested in your willingness to assume the best and remain faithful to that assumption regardless of appearances. That unwavering inner certainty is true mastery. Do not wait to test this principle. Begin now. The next time something unexpected happens, instead of reacting with fear, smile and quietly remind yourself, this too is working for my highest good. I may not understand it yet, but I trust the process. As time passes, you will begin noticing the pattern. You will recognize wisdom where you once saw disappointment. Peace will replace worry, because you will know that life is responding perfectly to your inner state. Your responsibility is never to force the outcome or figure out every detail. Your responsibility is simply to remain faithful to the state you have chosen. The rest unfolds naturally. Life always responds to your dominant assumption. When your deepest expectation becomes that everything is working out in your favor, reality eventually has no choice but to reflect it. You are the author of your story. You are the dreamer behind the dream. You are never powerless before fate. You are the creative force giving shape to experience. Whatever you consistently imagine with faith eventually becomes the reality you encounter. So move forward with complete confidence. Know that you are already on the right path. Everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Trust it. Assume it. Live from that certainty, because the moment you do, failure is no longer the expectation. Fulfillment is. You were never created to spend your life struggling, chasing outcomes, or battling every circumstance. Your true purpose is to come into alignment, to trust, and to confidently assume that what you desire is already yours. Life begins to feel lighter the moment you live from the fulfilled result instead of constantly reaching for it. When you genuinely experience the feeling of already possessing your desire, reality starts organizing itself around that conviction. Your true nature is divine imagination. That is who you are. The world before you is like soft clay, ready to take the shape of your dominant assumptions. Shape it with love instead of fear. Shape it with certainty instead of doubt. Hold firmly to the quiet knowing that everything is unfolding in your favor, and reality will eventually reflect that inner certainty. Go even deeper with this understanding. This is not simply positive thinking or a technique designed to lift your mood. It is a spiritual principle. It is the law through which reality expresses itself. The instant you accept within yourself that life is always working for your highest good, invisible forces begin arranging circumstances to match that conviction. Your physical eyes may not witness the change immediately, but on the unseen level, where every experience begins, the transformation has already started. When you live as though everything is working out, you stop fighting against life. You stop resisting every challenge that appears before you. This is not surrender born from defeat. It is surrender born from faith. Instead of arguing with temporary appearances, you remain loyal to your chosen assumption. That assumption becomes the foundation upon which you build your entire life. Standing on that foundation, what once seemed impossible gradually becomes possible. To many people, your confidence may appear unreasonable. Some will say you are ignoring reality. Yet what they call reality is only the visible result of yesterday's beliefs. Today's facts are simply the harvest of old assumptions. Persist in a new assumption, and tomorrow's facts must change. The outer world always follows the inner world. It cannot do otherwise, because that is the law. The Master instructed us not to worry about tomorrow for a reason. Anxiety, doubt, and fear are nothing more than continuous attention given to outcomes you do not desire. Instead, we are directed toward the kingdom within. We are taught to pray by believing we have already received. These are not symbolic words. They are precise instructions for creating reality. Imagine moving through your day with complete confidence that every event serves your highest good. A delayed flight becomes part of a greater plan. A disappointing conversation becomes redirection. An unexpected bill becomes the beginning of greater financial flow. Instead of reacting with fear, you remain established in peace. Instead of expecting failure, you expect success. As this becomes your natural state, your entire experience begins to reorganize itself. The right people enter your life. New opportunities appear. Circumstances shift in ways that seem almost effortless. This happens not because you force events to change, but because you have become the version of yourself to whom those experiences naturally belong. There is no need to beg life for blessings. There is no need to chase or exhaust yourself trying to prove your worth. Your only responsibility is to remain faithful to the state of already having. Live in gratitude before the evidence appears. Live from the fulfilled desire instead of longing for it. Walk through life wearing an invisible crown, not one of pride, but one of quiet confidence. You know who you are. You know your assumptions possess creative power. You know you are one with the same creative intelligence that formed all things. And when you forget, because everyone forgets from time to time, gently return to that state. Close your eyes. Breathe. Remember what it feels like to be supported, protected, deeply loved, and completely guided. Allow that feeling to become so vivid that it outweighs everything your physical senses are showing you. That is the real test. Can you remain faithful to an inner reality before the outer world confirms it? If you can, the world must eventually reflect your conviction. Reality is far more flexible than it appears. It is not fixed or permanent. It responds to consciousness. Whatever you repeatedly accept as true eventually solidifies into your experience. So why choose fearful assumptions when you can choose empowering ones? Why not expect that every event, every meeting, every delay, and every opportunity is ultimately serving your highest good? Understand this clearly. The law is never taking a day off. It is operating every moment of your life. The only question is this: what assumptions are you impressing upon it today? What are you filling your mind with each day, confidence or fear? Are you mentally replaying stories of limitation, or are you already celebrating the life you wish to experience? Every assumption you repeatedly accept becomes the blueprint for your future. If you truly want your outer world to change, begin by changing what you consistently believe within. Pay close attention to your inner conversations. Listen to the quiet story you repeat throughout the day. Are you asking yourself, What if everything falls apart? Or are you calmly reminding yourself, everything is already unfolding perfectly for me? Never believe that you need permission from anyone to choose a new state. You do not need proof before you believe. You do not need approval from other people. All you need is your imagination and the willingness to remain faithful to the fulfilled desire. The end is what creates the journey, not the other way around. When you mentally live in the completed result, life naturally discovers the path to bring it into visible form. Stop trying so hard to make things happen. Simply become the person for whom they have already happened. You were never meant to spend your life hoping. You were meant to know. There is tremendous power in quiet certainty. When you truly know that life is working in your favor, nothing outside of you can shake your peace. Difficult moments may still appear, but they no longer control your emotional state, because your security no longer depends on changing circumstances. It comes from the conviction you carry within. That is real matter. Observe how circumstances begin to shift. Notice unexpected opportunities, meaningful coincidences, and solutions appearing at the perfect time. These changes are not the result of force. They are the natural reflection of your new assumption. You are never actually waiting for the world to change. You are waiting only until you fully accept that the change has already taken place within yourself. The moment that inner shift becomes genuine, your outer experience begins moving in the same direction. People respond differently to you. Doors begin opening. Situations that once felt impossible gradually become inevitable. Everything begins with one powerful decision: to believe that life is always working in your favor. Let that become your constant reminder. Repeat it when you wake each morning. Carry it through every conversation. Return to it whenever doubt appears. Eventually, you will realize that the greatest transformation never happened outside of you first. It began with a new assumption. You do not have to earn your blessings. You simply have to accept them as already yours. Once that acceptance becomes natural, life faithfully reflects it. This is not wishful thinking. It is the operation of an unchanging law. Assume it is already complete. Feel the reality of it now. Live from that fulfillment, and reality will follow. Keep this practice simple. Many people overcomplicate these teachings. They search for complicated methods, endless affirmations, special rituals, or perfect routines. Yet the greatest power lies in something beautifully simple: choosing a state, feeling it as real, and remaining loyal to it. You do not need perfect conditions. You do not need special ceremonies. You do not need to repeat words endlessly. You only need the quiet certainty that your desire is already accomplished. An assumption is nothing more than an inner agreement with the creative power within you. The moment you sincerely declare, everything is working for my highest good, You align yourself with the intelligence that quietly organizes every detail of life. Instead of struggling against the current, you begin flowing with it. You may not always understand why certain events happen, or why life sometimes chooses an unexpected route. Yet when you remain faithful to your inner state, those detours often reveal themselves as hidden blessings. What first appeared to delay you eventually becomes the very thing that carried you to a greater outcome. Remain loyal to what you know within, even when your eyes tell a different story. There will be days when everything around you seems to contradict your assumption. Money may appear scarce. Someone important may leave. An opportunity you counted on may disappear. In those moments, remember that life is not punishing you. Those experiences simply ask one question: will you remain faithful to your chosen state, or will you surrender your conviction to temporary appearances? Remain faithful to your chosen state. Hold firmly to your inner certainty. Walk through life with the quiet confidence that every event is leading you toward your highest good. If you do, you will eventually witness reality rearranging itself in ways you never imagined. Looking back, you will realize that what once appeared to be an obstacle was actually preparing the way. The disappointment you feared became the doorway to something greater. The challenge became the answer to a prayer you had not yet recognized. This is how the law operates. It responds to what you truly accept as real. Reality conforms to conviction, and conviction is not created through endless repetition. It is born from identity. Become the person who naturally expects life to work in your favor, not occasionally, not only during fortunate moments, but always. Even now, these words are inviting you into that state. They are reminding you of your true nature. You are not someone being pushed around by circumstances. You are the creative cause behind your experience. You were never meant to spend your life struggling for what already belongs to you. Your role is to assume, to feel, and to receive. How do you know when you have entered the right state? You notice a deep sense of relief. Peace replaces anxiety. Joy appears without needing a reason. The desperate urge to chase disappears because you quietly know your desire already exists. You become calm, centered, and certain that what is established within must eventually appear without. Do not become anxious about timing. Time itself follows your assumptions. What seems impossible according to the calendar may arrive far sooner than reason expects. What others pursue through endless effort may flow toward you naturally because you have aligned yourself with the fulfilled state. This is not pride. It is harmony with the deeper truth that consciousness comes first and circumstances follow. There is no need to persuade anyone else. You do not have to defend your beliefs or win arguments. Simply remain faithful within. Carry your certainty quietly and allow your results to speak louder than your explanations. When you consistently live from the assumption that life is always supporting you, your entire existence becomes proof of the law in action. People will naturally wonder how things seem to unfold so smoothly for you. Your answer will be simple. You accepted the outcome before you could see it. You believed it. You felt it. You lived from it. Reality simply reflected the state you refused to abandon. Make this your daily way of living. Replace striving with trust. Replace pressure with inner rest. Each morning, step into the feeling that your desire is already fulfilled. Throughout the day, return to that feeling whenever your attention wanders. Each night, fall asleep, resting in the quiet certainty that everything is already accomplished. Do not allow doubt to pull you away. When uncertainty appears, return to your chosen state. When fear tries to convince you otherwise, gently answer it with confidence. Even this is unfolding for my highest good. Continue until that assumption becomes your natural way of thinking. Once it becomes your dominant expectation, your outer world begins reflecting it with remarkable consistency. You are not asking life to become generous toward you. You are recognizing that its abundance has always been available. You are not forcing reality into existence. You are revealing what already exists within the unseen dimensions of consciousness. From one fulfilled state, you simply move into another. It is from this quiet inner position that extraordinary experiences begin to feel completely natural. What once seemed impossible becomes familiar. You expect good things, not because you ignore reality, but because you understand where reality truly begins. You are divine imagination expressing itself through human experience. Every assumption accepted with feeling becomes a creative act. Therefore, stop waiting for visible proof before you believe. Let your belief become the proof. Let your assumptions become the cause from which every future experience grows. Everything you experience today is the reflection of an earlier state of consciousness. If you desire a different reflection, choose a different state. Pause for a moment. Take a slow breath. Don't simply think about these ideas, experience them. Let them settle deep within your awareness. Stand, speak, and move through life as someone whose desire has already been fulfilled. Look beyond temporary appearances and trust the unseen reality you have accepted within. The invisible always gives birth to the visible. What becomes real in imagination eventually becomes real in experience. So once again, live as though everything is already working in your favor, not because circumstances currently prove it, but because your assumption is the seed from which every future circumstance grows. Let this become your awakening. You are not controlled by luck, fate, or changing conditions. You are the operant power. Life is not happening against you. It is expressing itself through your own consciousness. Living as though everything works out for you is not pretending. It is declaring your creative authority. Others may misunderstand it. Circumstances may temporarily appear to disagree. Remain unmoved. You now understand the principle. You have touched the quiet power that exists within your own awareness. Nothing is too distant. Nothing is beyond possibility. Nothing is permanently out of reach. Your only responsibility is to choose the state and remain faithful to it. From this moment forward, walk with certainty instead of hope. Wear the feeling of fulfillment as naturally as you wear your own skin. Let it shape your thoughts, your words, your actions, and even your silence. Then watch with quiet gratitude as life faithfully reflects the conviction you have carried within. This is your power. This is your creative secret. Live each day as though everything is already unfolding perfectly for you. And in time, reality will reveal that it was responding to your assumption all along.